And then I have to throw in the folks at Cal State East Bay who 2 days ago, when we called them out of the blue and said, hey, can we do this there? And they said, you bet, anything you want, totally free. So, yeah. But as we know, the real story is about these folks and what they did and what they gave of themselves. They were the inspiration behind the project and what everybody was trying to celebrate when they gave of themselves. So in between Standard Oil and Charles Lindbergh in 1928 and Admiral Chester Nimitz in 1964, there were thousands of members of our armed forces who lost their lives at Pearl Harbor and in the subsequent years in fighting in that war. And there were the survivors of the Pearl Harbor attack, and they were joined by tens of thousands of other servicemen who in service to this country. As I said, some who gave their lives, and others who fought and then came home. But they were the ones who fought for our homeland, for our freedoms and our way of life. So this beacon isn't just a flashlight. No, it's way more than that. It's also more than a light shining into our past that reminds us of a time gone by in the early days of aviation, or in what happened at Pearl Harbor and those who gave their lives there. Yes, it is about those things, partially, but the beacon is also more than a light into the past. Now that it's restored, it will continue to shine on for decades to come, shining over our homes and the amazing Diablo wilderness, to remind us about how important it is for all of us to continue to work to ensure our collective freedoms, and to remind us to care for each other and for the health of the world, its people, and its places. This beacon will remind us of our ongoing responsibilities to protect those freedoms and the beauty of the natural wonders of our world for future generations. No, this isn't just an aviation beacon anymore or an historic artifact. When it shines on in the years to come, it's a beacon of hope and a message to the people of the future to remember what took place in the past, because as we know, those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. But it's a reminder to all of us to be grateful for what we have here today and to be thankful for those who gave so much of themselves to protect it for us. And it's a beacon to remind us of our obligations to each other and, most importantly, to future generations. So before we go outside to light the restored beacon, I'd like to remind each of us as we look at it tonight and in the future years to remember not those just who gave their lives in the past, but we shall do that. But let us also use it as a reminder of our hopes for continued freedom, justice, peace, and the bonds of friendship among all of the inhabitants of the earth. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ron. And now I'd like to reintroduce Steve Barton, who will sing America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you.
And a few more thanks are in order. Once again to Cal State, East Bay, Ron, and all you volunteers who helped. County Connections, who brought the families and close ones of Pearl Harbor survivors 3 vans. They brought them here, and they've done that for years now, and it was really a wonderful service by County Connections. Yeah. The survivors would like to thank these people have been back for years too. Our color guard, our bugler, which you'll hear in the future, Don Stone and his superior audio system. Thanks, Don. And there's a man named Monty Rowan who's up at the mountain right now who will light the beacon. So thanks, Monty. And I think I speak for survivors when I bring out a special thanks to Bert Bogartis. Bert, for 37 years on this date, up in the mountaintop, Bert was up in that tower with a rickety, aging beacon, tacking and tapping, finicking, making sure, cussing. Cussing, Bert always said that. Making sure it would light and rotate. We old-timers always knew that it would, but boy, were we relieved when it did. So a special thanks to you, Bert, for your decades of dedication. And the survivors would like to thank you for sharing this ceremony with them. Here now again is Ron Brown, who will explain what's going to be happening once we leave this room.
Thank you. Really quick this time. We're going to leave here now. We're going to go out the doors. We're going to turn to the right and go onto the other side of the buildings through the breezeway or around the back side of the building. We're going to be, there'll be staff over there to show you where to stand. We will have taps and then redirect our attention to the summit of the mountain where we will light the light. Thank you. And if we could have some help carrying the chairs from the front here so the survivors have some seats outside, we'd appreciate some strong hands.